kind of social media skills do employers want employees to have these days? Dr. Karen Sutherland from the University of the Sunshine Coast joins us now for her regular segment. Where are you today? You look like you're at home.
I'm at home, but I'm already starting to plan my next trip. So.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, I'm in the startup world. There'll be no holidays for about 10 years, I think. Let's talk about the sorts of social media skills that employers want employees to have. And I imagine it's not Facebooking while you're on shift.
No, actually, so some colleagues, I mentioned this study last week where we surveyed around 400 Australian employers. We asked them about the unprofessional social media behaviours, but we also asked them what skills they think are most important for people to have when working in social media in their companies. And the results were quite interesting, a little bit, sort of good but bad. So explain. So the number one sort of category of skills that they think are most important are customer service and public relations skills, which that makes sense, doesn't it? I mean, social media is all about building relationships, and often people manning social media channels for a company are the first sort of people who interact with customers. They represent the company, so you want that experience to be top notch, definitely. But the least, it was out of 4 different categories, I had to rank them. So there was customer service, public relations, there was content production, social media strategy development, and then social media analytics. And in last place, people put social media analytics, and I find that frightening.
Why? Talk to us why. Why do you find that frightening? What, for starters, for those who don't know, talk to us about what is social media analytics, and then tell us why it's so important to understand.
Well, so when you own a social media channel for your business, it tracks, it gives you a lot of data around what customers and followers and fans are doing on your channels, how they're interacting with content. And if you have it set up correctly, you can even track, say, a particular ad and the impact that has had on ROI, like how many sales were as a result of that ad. And so understanding and how to understand these analytics and use them to inform not even your social media content, but particularly your strategy and your also your customer service. It sort of the analytics side should inform every part of your social media practice.
Right, so the analytics is where you look at, because it's not just something that you can take for posting on social media, but it can also tell you that you might think that your demographic is this, but actually the people responding most to your business is this, and that could mean that if you tailor your product, even your branding, more towards the people who are actually paying attention as opposed to who you think it might be, that could then lead to sales.
Totally. And so this is a very good point. So often I run social media workshops for businesses, and we go through just the basics of, say, Facebook Insights, because a lot of people find them very, confronting, a bit scary, so they stay right away. But there's so much great information in there. And one in particular you can look at, it's when you click on People, the People tab in Facebook Insights. It shows you who follows your page, but more importantly, there's a tab at the top that shows you the people who've engaged with your content. Now, these are the people that you want to be targeting because they're already showing an interest. It's much easier to gain further attention from someone who's already interested than trying to keep going after people who are cold, who don't really know you, or they follow the page but they don't really interact with your content.
And that is a good point as well when it comes to the people who are interacting with your content, because so much of social media for business is actually marketing, right? So I have a look at all of the different things that media companies do, for example, and so much of it isn't really about generating new leads. It's actually trying to remind people what you are, who you are, and what the style of company you are. I think of, say, Channel 7 and Channel 9 both have these Facebook Watch shows that they both do. They're very, very different, and it's in a sense a branding exercise to let people know, this is who our company is, and to forget that so much social media is essentially just PR and branding. Do so at your own peril.
That's right. And I mean, at the heart of it, your audience is the most important part, and they should be put at the forefront. And you should be creating content and trying to engage with them in ways that they want. They want the content that you're supplying, and they want to engage with you in the ways that you're, providing as well. And so, looking at the analytics side of it helps to see, like, what are they responding to, what are they not responding to. That's also a biggie. So if you realize you've posted a piece of content and on a particular day you've lost followers, you can actually go back and go, okay, what did I do on that day that I lost so many followers?
Do you think it's that? Yeah, but do you think it's that? Like, I've put stuff up on Twitter, for example, and I've got about 80,000 followers on Twitter, and sometimes it's really surprising that you put up some content. Like, I put up first images of a plane that landed on a highway the other day. Incredible image, and I lost 5 followers. Now, everything would tell me that people would love that kind of content. It's very interesting. Do you think sometimes people unfollow just because they get annoyed by too many tweets, too many Facebook posts? They don't mind your business, they don't mind following you, but every now and then they're like, okay, shut up.
Well, the thing is, I think people unfollow for a range of reasons. So you can never unequivocally say this is why, but it sort of gives you an idea if you've posted something and then, a large number of people have stopped following you. But then you have to think too, like, are these the people who want following me anyway? Because you have to think about, maybe they're not the right potential customers for me. And again, it's sort of narrowing it down to that sort of target segment of the people who are going to be most interested in your brand.
Now, I want to get your thoughts on just a slightly different topic, but coronavirus has obviously been on the spread. Social media has been the place that a lot of us have been getting our information, because the numbers keep changing so quickly, so many different opinions, so many different countries. It seems to be the one place where you can get all your information. A tweet appeared yesterday from Twitter themselves saying, go here and here, which was the Australian Health Organisation and the World Health Organisation, because they're concerned themselves about the spread of misinformation. I saw some crazy things being tweeted over the weekend about coronavirus, which were really, really scary. Things like 90,000 people being infected, and stage 2, which has already come. It's mutated and it's deadly and there's no way of stopping it, etc. It's interesting that now Twitter has, I suppose, finally realized the power that it plays as a platform. And we're now starting to see Twitter and Facebook acting a little bit more like traditional publishers, in that they're the gatekeeper of information, not just the highway for information.
Oh, and thank goodness. Hallelujah. Like, far out. I mean, they've let so much misinformation go, and I know it's hard for them to control it all, but coming up with a statement like that showing where to get, factual information, they should be doing that stuff all the time. You can see when there's sort of panic going on, people post crazy things, and there are some people out there who actually get a kick out of posting misinformation and seeing how viral it can get. And
what are the effects then? What do you think the effects are from a social media perspective of misinformation coming out, and don't say electing the wrong president?
Well, I just think people get that much further from the truth. It can result in violence. It can result in, really bigoted attitudes based on a fact that's not, people think is a fact that's not true. It just means that people are basing their opinions on things that aren't true. And I think that's quite dangerous, actually. I think everyone has a right to an opinion, but there's a big difference between opinion and fact. And I think our opinions would be much, more constructive if they were based on at least some element of fact. And a lot of the stuff that gets handed around and shared on social media it's not factual. What I find scarier is that when some people are then presented with the factual information, they still won't change from their opinion that is based on.
All right, well then that leads me to my next point. Exactly what you're saying there. Will it make any difference? So if social media organisations decide that they are going to jump onto this to try and show people, when you see a post that suggests that 90,000 people, not 4,500 people, are infected with coronavirus, that is the story that a lot of people want to tell their mates. And that's kind of how misinformation spreads, isn't it? I call it the pub chat of, you should have heard what I heard the other day. And it usually comes from just a line or a headline they've read on social media.
Yeah, well, the thing is, for some people, for some people, it won't matter because they'll just believe what they believe. But me, I'm constantly going. I'm that person you don't want at a party or you don't want on your post because I'm the one who goes and says, posts a link to Snopes.com where it has the correct information, or it says no, that's not right, and post the facts, because I think, and we all need to do a bit of that to try and actually get the right information out there. Because otherwise we're just going to be basing everything on stuff that isn't true.
And what do you teach your students in regards to this? And I suppose fact checking, etc. Because a lot of businesses, the negative thing that can come through from social media posts quite often are the smart alecks who want to say, you got that wrong, you got that piece wrong. So coming back to what we're talking about at the beginning about the sorts of skills that we want from employees when it comes to social media. One is the ability to understand what's good PR, etc. But surely another is just the basics, like knowing how to spell correctly, knowing how to check your facts before you put them out, because what you think might be good PR can very quickly become the opposite, and even its own meme having a laugh at your business because you've done it completely wrong.
Yeah, and actually in that second category of skills that employers highlighted, it was content production, and there were like other skills in that category that talked about those things, and that was placed in second. So I do think employees find that extremely important at our university, and I know at a lot of universities when they look at social, yes, because of fake news. I mean, we have to teach our students how to determine what is factual and what is not. And
Absolutely.
then if they cannot verify the source, don't post it. Just don't post it. That's the most important information we can give. And we start that from first year, teaching them those sorts of things and those sorts of skills, even in their own posting, let alone when they're representing a business.
It is really funny, like being a journo. This is my 20th year as a paid journalist this year, would you believe? It was 2000, just after the Olympics, that I got my first job. And my editor gave me a dictionary for that Christmas because my spelling was so bad back in the days prior to there being Microsoft Word spell check, etc. But the lessons that I learned as a journalist to start off with, that a lot of the lessons were really hard learned, I might add. I'm still make mistakes now. You never quite perfect everything, but in a world where now everybody's a publisher, but no one has learned those lessons of what does the audience want, what do they care about, what's oversharing, and what's editing, what's too much, what's too little, keep it short, for example. These things haven't really been taught to people who aren't journalists in a way, but are now doing the jobs of that were traditionally done by journalists.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And I mean, in our courses, that's a huge part of it. Like we teach how to write for different platforms and that sort of thing. But yeah, so I think a lot of people do it's all about trial and error. But if they're, again, bringing back to those analytics, if they're just posting stuff what they think and they're not looking at the analytics to show, that helps to sort of guide you and start to polish and hone what you're doing as well. Because it's all really, social media is really an experiment with everything that you do. There's no blueprint for success really, because every audience for each page is different. So it's all about, trying different lengths, what works, what doesn't. But the oversharing thing, I think nobody wants that. So,
all right, Dr. Karen Sutherland, absolutely love your advice as always. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.